March 4th, 1861 is the inauguration day for Abraham Lincoln. March 4th, 1861 was a Monday. March 4th was inauguration day for Abraham Lincoln. He was a dark horse candidate. He didn't get elected till like the 4th or 5th round of voting at the convention. The damn Republican Party, they're going to unite labor and they're going to unite capital against the slave-owning power. And they're going to be victorious. And just like eternal law, Lincoln was right then, he was right before, he's always going to be right. Right is right. Monday, March 4th, Inauguration Day. From his suite at Willard's, Abraham Lincoln listened calmly as Robert read out loud the final draft of his father's address. So he wrote out the inauguration address and he handed it to his son Robert to read out loud. Because he's like, here, read this out loud so I can hear what it sounds like. Outside, the weather was cold and bracing as the outgoing president arrived at the hotel in a splendid carriage. And of course, who is the guy that was before Lincoln? Who is the 15th president? Since so many people from Ohio, why do people from Ohio hate Lincoln so much? Why do people from Ohio wave Confederate flags? Ohio wasn't part of the Confederacy. Because they're racist pieces of shit. But since Ohio loves the Confederacy so much, then they must love the 15th president, James Buchanan. Man, things are good under James Buchanan. And then Lincoln came along. No, it's the opposite, you pieces of shit. You don't know James Buchanan. You're a dumb, ignorant, backwards, stupid motherfucker. You're a racist piece of shit. That's why you don't like Abraham Lincoln. You don't know about no James Buchanan. You don't know about no Polk. You don't know about no Warren G. Harding. You don't know about shit. You're just a racist piece of shit. Outside, the weather was cold and bracing as the outgoing president arrived at the hotel in a splendid carriage. A bystander reported that the streets adjacent to the Capitol were nearly impassable by the crowds of people. Every available spot was black with human beings, boys and men clinging to rails and mounting on fences and climbing trees until they bent beneath the weight. Donning a low-crowned, broad-brimmed silk hat, James Buchanan stepped into the Willard's lobby to meet his successor. Moments later, the two men exited the hotel together and took their places in the open carriage. Arriving a short while later at the Capitol, they attended the swearing-in of Vice President Hannibal Hamlin in the Senate chamber and strode out to the east portico. The Lincoln family was already seated beneath the canopy. Hay and Nicolay were assigned chairs just next to Robert Todd Lincoln. They were only a few feet away when Lincoln delivered his inaugural address and Chief Justice Roger Taney administered the oath of office. Years later, Hay recounted the moments following Lincoln's swearing in. Back inside the Capitol, James Buchanan pulled the new president aside for some parting words. In the corner where I was standing, I waited with boyish wonder and credulity to see what momentous counsels were to come from that gray and weathered head. Every word must have its value at such an instant. The ex-president said, I think you will find water on the right-hand well at the White House better than the left, and went on with many intimate details of the kitchen and pantry. Hay recalled that Lincoln stood politely at attention with that weary, introverted look of his, not answering, and the next day when I recalled the conversation, admitted he had not heard a word of it. Through every chamber of his heart and brain were resounding these solemn strains of long-suffering warning, which he had that day addressed to the South. With you, not me, rests the awful issue. Shall it be peace or the sword? Shall it be peace or the sword? So I thought it was interesting, the relationship between Robert Todd Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln hated slavery because his father had made him into a slave. And his father made terrible decisions, lost the homestead 3 times, had to move out of Kentucky. So I have to obey you, but you're making terrible financial decisions and we keep having to move everywhere. And not only do his bidding, but do his neighbor's bidding. Abraham Lincoln's father would make Abraham Lincoln be his slave personally for him on the farm, but also for his neighbor because he had debts with his neighbor. So he used Abraham Lincoln to pay off his debts and for free labor. That's why he hated fucking slavery, because he was a slave himself. So I like that part. And then I like this part on the bottom. The only thing James Buchanan, you stupid ass racist pieces of shit, you love James Buchanan. You think he's the greatest goddamn president ever. But how come James Buchanan, the only fucking thing he thought to say to Abraham Lincoln is, here is the pantry that we use, and here's the cups that we use, and here's the tap water. Just a bunch of fucking, innocuous, pointless. I guess he'll need to know those things. But ultimately, I'm not here to get a drink of water, James Buchanan. I'm here to lead the country. And I'll need a drink of water, in the meantime. But the main thing is to lead the country. So you'd think he would be talking about stuff like that. The Secret Service is like this. The senators are talking about this. Here you'll need to know about this process and that. But no, the only thing he was just talking about was the process for the trash. Here we put the trash bags, and here is the trash cans, and that's the trash system. All right, thanks, James Buchanan. Thank you, James Buchanan, for keeping the trash system of the White House. I mean, you need the trash system. Don't get me wrong. If it wasn't for James Buchanan, that whole damn White House would have just been one big old fucking trash heap. What do they call those things? Anyways, Monday, March 4th, 1861. James Buchanan. It's Inauguration Day.